Welcome everyone to this explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Look, if you're the kind of focused learner who really wants to cut through all that marketing hype and get down to the bare metal reality of how our digital world actually works, well, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're setting the stage for what's basically a complete unmasking. We are going to systematically dismantle this massive modern myth surrounding artificial intelligence, and I'm going to show you what's literally happening inside the hardware. It's wild. Right off the bat, we've got to address that existential dread kind of hanging over all of us right now. I mean, when you see an algorithm spit out an absolutely stunning visual masterpiece or write a massive block of complex code in, 3 seconds, it naturally triggers a huge fear. We start wondering, are human creators becoming completely obsolete? But we really have to ask ourselves something fundamentally different. Is artificial intelligence an actual conscious creator? Or when we peel back the layers and strip away the magic, are we actually just tricking rocks into thinking with lightning? Seriously, let's drop the abstract theology for a bit and really ground our perspective here. Okay, let's dive right into this with a clear roadmap. Today we're hitting 1. The AI neo-god myth. 2. Gambler versus the surveyor. 3. Crossing the semiotic bridge. 4. Deterministic virtual machine execution. 5. Physical action via cheerbot. And wrapping up with 6. Rise of sovereign pilots.
Section 1. The AI Neo-God Myth. Shattering the illusion of artificial consciousness.
We are literally constantly bombarded by this grandiose narrative that AI systems have suddenly just woken up, like they have independent creative agency. But to truly understand why AI absolutely isn't a true creator, we've got to turn to philosopher Hannah Arendt and cultural theorist Roland Barthes. Arendt pointed out that true creation requires praxis, and praxis is this active, engaged doing that is inextricably tied to biological friction and actual lived experience. A machine doesn't feel joy, it doesn't experience grief, it has literally never stubbed its toe. It fundamentally lacks any kind of inner drive. And Barthes? Well, he gives us the absolute perfect term for what AI actually is. He calls it a scripter. It's simply a highly complex mechanical vessel. Think of it like a giant mental kaleidoscope that blindly recombines our existing data based purely on statistical probabilities. An AI is the brain of a highly advanced machine, but it doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have an essence. It is simply a collection of logical steps that have all been pre-programmed by humans. Section 2, Gambler versus the Surveyor. Dropping down to bare silicon. So if it's really just a mechanical scripter shuffling data around, you're probably wondering, how does it process all that data so incredibly fast? Well, prepare to have your assumptions completely challenged here. 80 to 90%. Let that sink in. That staggering number represents the percentage of modern AI compute cycles that are actually just hardware-level approximations. Wait, what? Yeah. When these massive language models are doing their heavy lifting, they are not handing you an exact mathematical truth. They are, fundamentally, just guessing the nearest answer. So the absolutely crucial point here is how this guessing actually affects the data. You see, chip manufacturers actually burn completely secret proprietary seed tables directly into the physical silicon just to guess the math incredibly fast. And this creates what researchers call the wood chipper effect. It acts like a giant digital blender. Because the math is just a guess based on these hidden silicon approximations, the original data provenance, like the exact chain of title of the thousands of human artists and writers, is permanently destroyed. You cannot reverse engineer that digital smoothie back into its original fruits, no matter how hard you try. It's just gone. And this brings us to a really stark contrast right inside the computer's physical brain. On one side, we have the floating point unit, or as I like to call it, the FPU gambler. It's fast, it's lossy, highly probabilistic, and relies heavily on those secret seed tables to just sort of guess the math. But on the exact opposite side, we have the arithmetic logic unit, the ALU surveyor. The surveyor is strict, it is totally deterministic, and it deals only in absolute hardware truth. In the world of the ALU, 1 + 1 equals exactly 2, every single time, across every machine on Earth. It operates on a relentless metronome of clocked voltage. No guessing whatsoever, just pure facts. Section 3. Crossing the semiotic bridge. Connecting mind to silicon. Okay, so if we want to completely bypass the chaotic guessing of the gambler, how on earth do we connect our messy human minds directly to that rigid hardware? We use structured text commands, things like JSON, command line interfaces, or languages like Rust. Think about it. Human thought is so fluid and associative, right? But silicon logic gates are purely mechanical. This structured text acts as the literal divine script. It's the universal deterministic interface that safely compiles our boundless, messy human imagination right down into rigid, exact physical hardware execution without losing anything in translation. Section 4, Deterministic Virtual Machine Execution, the Unbreakable Text Stream. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the direct comparison. The traditional Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM. Look, it's been foundational, sure, but it processes sequentially and really struggles with tight limits. It's kind of like trying to build a skyscraper with a tiny toy toolkit. Enter Arbitrum Stylus. This completely changes the game. It allows developers to use robust universal languages like Rust and C++ that compile directly to Wasm. It just shatters those old constraints, offering a highly efficient, computationally exact environment. It perfectly mirrors the strict truth of our ALU surveyor. Seriously, just look at the real-world performance impact of this exactness. When we analyze pure computational contracts, like, say, an ED 25519 cryptographic signature verification, the benchmark data shows a massive 75% reduction in gas costs when using Rust-based smart contracts on Stylus compared to Solidity. That is huge. This completely proves that relying on pure deterministic math isn't just some nice philosophical ideal. No, it is incredibly powerful and significantly more computationally efficient. Section 5, Physical Action by a Cheerbot, bringing the digital to life. Let's move to and see how this builds, because once we have absolute deterministic truth on a network, we can finally, safely, automate the real world. Historically, trying to map digital ledger data to physical hardware was just a total mess. Honestly, one delayed signal could ruin an entire sequence. So to fix this, developers utilize a mathematically pure structure called LIFO JSON state, meaning last in, first out. And what this does is it creates highly efficient single-entry bookkeeping. Because the very last item to go in is the very first item to come out, you literally only ever need to query index 0 to get an immediate, flawless mathematical proof of the system state. It completely eliminates all that event-driven chaos. And right here is that exact root-to-leaf pipeline in action. Step 1, a simple HTTP 402 payment webhook triggers on the network. Step 2, that pure LIFO JSON state is verified instantly right at index 0. Step 3, the Flow X42 Cheerbot, which, by the way, is running securely via a local edge device, like a Synology NAS, right there on your desk, reads that digital truth. And finally, Step 4, the Cheerbot flawlessly translates that bit-perfect mathematical logic into raw electrical signals, fired straight into the physical GPIO pins on its internal Raspberry Pi. A digital command securely and flawlessly spins a physical motor. It's actually wonderfully absurd when you think about it. A physical robot obeying a simple text file with complete unwavering loyalty. Section 6, Rise of Sovereign Pilots. Architecting actual meaning. By establishing this completely exact deterministic bridge from human thought to silicon logic gates and all the way out to physical robots, we fundamentally redefine your role. And this brilliantly illustrates what I'd call the modern geometry of authorship. Because as the architecture documentation perfectly states, the human pilot applies the intent, but the agent cell executes the sweat. The machine, acting as that rigid deterministic digital scripter, it handles the raw computation. It handles the tedious physical execution. But the overarching strategy, the emotional resonance, and the actual soul of the work, that remains 100% human. You are the sovereign pilot providing the explicit text commands. So I really want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. As these incredibly powerful agentic tools integrate into absolutely every aspect of our lives, you have a fundamental choice to make. Are you going to just passively accept the lossy approximations of the algorithm, acting as a mere moral crumple zone, just sitting there, positioned to take the legal and ethical hit when the machine inevitably hallucinates? Or will you fiercely command the semiotic bridge, wield exact deterministic code, and actually reclaim your true agency as a sovereign pilot, orchestrating reality at the local edge, running your own exact logic securely on your own Synology? The tools are ready, my friends. The choice is entirely yours. Keep questioning the systems around you, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.